At this time, I'd like to call us back out of executive session and bring our regular meeting to order. Following executive session, there is some action to take. Commissioner Lloyd, do you have a motion for us?
Mr. Chairman, I do have a motion. I have a motion to approve an employee agreement with the sheriff offices and authorize the chairman to sign all documents.
Thank you, Commissioner. We have a motion to approve and authorize the chairman to sign all documents. Is there a second?
Second.
Second by Commissioner Smith. Any further discussion? All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. Motion carries. With that, moving on, we have commissioner comments. I know Commissioner Smith, you have to check out early. Did you
Yep.
have anything special?
I mean, I've done a lot of great work in these past 3 weeks since our last meeting, and it's unbelievable. The things I've done, just really good.
Well, and it showed today. It showed today. You brought it right in with you and finished it up strong. With that, you've requested to be excused for an appointment, so the excuse is granted.
Thank you.
See you when we see you.
You will.
All right. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
You're welcome.
I object, Mr. Chairman. No,
Huh?
I object.
I know. Well, that's why I didn't put out there as a motion. Thank you, Commissioner Tolman. Okay, going back to reports then, I'll go first quickly. The listening on the Joint Water Board meeting, because they're not meeting in person. And of course, they're continuing to work through with their organization, but they continue to also work to get the on the reservoir through the grant they received and working with contractors through that. So it'll be great when that's finished and they'll be able to fill it full and have it ready for this Joint Water Board and their customers. I did attend a CLG meeting with Commissioner Tolman and was allowed to chair it, but that's all I'm going to say about it. It was a good meeting, and I did make copies of the minutes and other things and gave to each commissioner and that, so keep you appraised of what's going on. I also attended the enterprise meeting where Mr. Brubaker reported about the airport, did a really great job bringing those business leaders up to speed where things were at within the airport. And then also at that meeting, I also asked for a moment of time and I was granted it. And I mentioned to him and let the business leaders know about, we were looking at a specific purpose tax proposition. And I told them, as some of the largest businesses in the county, that if they objected or had some concerns, to get a hold of any one of us as commissioners. And I would be more than happy to visit with anybody that was on the enterprise group. And at that point in time, there was no objection, but there was support from those that were there. So I'll continue to follow through that because I want to make sure we got the big businesses aboard. Because they've always said they would support a special purpose tax versus a mill, any type of mill levy. Also, with that, I will stand for any questions and just let the board know that I have Commissioner Shanefeld's report and I'll read it when we get to it. So any questions for me? Okay, since there's not, I'll go on to Commissioner Shanefeld's report. First of all, the special purpose tax meetings. They've had 2 meetings over the last 2 weeks and they're still working on gauging input around what next steps may be and if there's interest moving forward. They did have an in-depth conversation with Stifel and Turn Corps to discuss concerns moving forward, as well as options regarding community engagement and input before moving forward with anything. They have discussed a number of different options on the ballot proposition. We'll have more information at the next meeting. At the museum staff have been busy installing a holiday exhibit in the courthouse community room, which opened to the public yesterday. The exhibit features a vintage piano discussed at the last commissioners meeting, plus antique musical instruments, old time toys, and historic photos. A holiday open house will be held this Saturday afternoon from 1 to 5 with family activities, kid crafts, refreshments, and live music. The latter will include Joe Barbuto on the piano, accompanied by singers, including county commissioners.
Yeah.
And I think Commissioner Lloyd already responded to that, and
I will be out of town.
you'll be out of town, but doggone it, I'd like to see you there with a little karaoke. But anyhow, also county employees and others who wish to participate. For some reason, in parentheses, it says Tim Knight. And then when I say including county commissioners, you with a question mark, I think she meant for you to read these, Mary. And it was meant for you to be there to sing.
Oh, yeah, definitely.
All right.
Yeah.
Big news. The museum is connected to the county's network, has new security cameras, upgraded computers, and an updated phone system. The museum says a big thank you to the county commissioners for their approval of the connectivity project and to efforts of Gene Legursky and the IT department for making it happen. They especially want to wish to thank Tim Knight, Mike Hart, Jacob Chambers, Brandon Hutchinson, and Jennifer Petrella of IT for their patience and persistence. I just know we received the email from Dick Blust here a minute ago, and that's Jeff. And there are pictures from Dick Blust regarding the display downstairs for Starbus. I want to send my condolences to the staff of Starbus, as one of our longtime drivers, Mary Elizondo, passed away a few weeks ago. You're in all our thoughts and prayers. SEDC, Kayla and Eric have worked through the process and have filed for the 501c3. They have a EIN number and are waiting for approval process. With that, Commissioner Shanefield stands for questions. Complete. Moving on. Commissioner Toman.
All right, the majority of my time has been spent on federal issues. Doc and I are the cooperators named on most of our federal plans and projects. We did attend the Coalition of Local Governments. We heard a very interesting presentation by Seidel Corporation regarding carbon emissions production facilities that could be tied into the coal-fired power plants emissions to produce jet fuel, diesel, and fertilizer products. That was very interesting presentation. But when we attended our county or Chamber of Commerce federal agency meeting, the BLM informed us that there are 3 companies interested in doing carbon capture instead of carbon reinjection. So that was very interesting. Ashley National Forest, we are actively submitting comments. The plan is open to the public now for comment. I believe last Friday it went public. So as a coalition and representing our county, we are still submitting comments on the Ashley National Forest plan. We did have a Zoom meeting with the new planners for the Ashley National Forest and the contractors. It was mainly a get acquainted type of meeting. The Forest Service will be working on updated MOUs with the cooperators, of which Sweetwater County is a cooperator. Okay, I attended the Ambulance Service Board meeting on the 30th for Commissioner Wendling. Thank you for that one.
Wow.
It was a very interesting meeting is mostly what I will say. We had a very lively discussion about the role of the Ambulance Service Board, and maybe some of those questions have been answered, will be answered today. So they did have some concerns though, and they said they did not feel it was their responsibility to provide financial oversight to the county for Sweetwater Medics. I had offered to schedule them to report to us at the January 4th meeting if they are so inclined to want to do that. They did say they would try to participate in our next joint intergovernmental meeting on December 13th, and the next meeting for the Ambulance Service Board will be January 6th. For your information.
January 6th.
That's after our meeting.
Okay.
Let's see. Oh, then I attended Ashley National Forest is doing a separate plan for Flaming Gorge National Recreation Area. And they had a very interactive, lively meeting at the library, also on the 30th. There were a lot of comments on the issues and concerns around the gorge, a lot of ideas for improvements, and hopefully if they get this President Biden's infrastructure money or whatever the next batch of money is, that they can start implementing some of them, because there has not been a lot of improvements done at the boat docks, and the term permittees are very frustrated, have been spending a lot of their own money to try to update water systems, septic systems, and the like. So it was a very good discussion about the other issues that relate to how people use the gorge and how they might better plan to keep it a good, clean area as well. Steve Core from the city did come on Zoom and asked them to get a presence back in Green River. And I think it would be prudent for this commission to write a letter to the Forest Supervisor, Sue Eichhoff. We talked to the chamber about also doing that, saying that we think it's important that they have a presence in Green River, at least a part-time person. Maybe they could coordinate with the Chamber of Commerce. So I think it would be good if this commission would write a letter to Supervisor Eichhoff asking for a staff presence in Green River for Flaming Gorge National Recreation Area.
And Steve Core requested that.
And he requested that through the Zoom call at that meeting.
I'm trying to, I think maybe what we could do is have, talk with Sally and have her contact when she gets back.
Okay.
Contact Steve Core and see if he might have a letter, a template letter,
Okay.
and have Sally work on that for us.
The ranger thought it would be a good idea if we
Yeah.
showed some support
So
and a request for that. It's hard for him to request it, but if we as a community request it and the chamber requests it,
Remember that.
okay,
Let's see what we can shake down.
all right. And then I attended Western Interstate Region Zoom meeting yesterday. They were giving an update on federal issues. And I have been appointed to the Public Land Steering Committee of the National Association of County Officials. There are some big issues coming up. Sage grouse, the BLM is doing some rewrites on habitat. And so that's all I'll say about that right now. But the comments are due by February 27th. So it's important for us to stay connected to Western Interstate Region, but also our coalition of local governments providing comments as the BLM goes through these processes of undoing or doing some of their federal actions from previous years. The second item is BLM oil and gas leasing program. By court order, they were to provide the leasing options, but they are carving out exceptions, I might say, based on sage grouse, habitat, or whatever. So we're having issues with that because it's not really allowing full oil and gas leasing program to go forward. They're also requiring or requesting an increase in royalties to the federal government from 5.5% to 18% from the oil companies. They said that the BLM's report on oil and gas leasing said that it failed to provide a fair return to the taxpayers. They want to end area-wide leasing. They want medium to high potential areas to be the only areas where they would allow leases, and they want it to be using existing or close to existing infrastructure. So that's on oil and gas leasing through the BLM. The third item that WIR discussed was President Biden's infrastructure bill. President Biden signed that on November 15th for $550 billion. Majority is going to go to transportation for $284 billion, water $55 billion, broadband $65 billion, energy and power $173 billion. Environmental remedies, 21 billion. Western water infrastructure, 8.3 billion. Then there will be an additional bill for 1.75 trillion Build Back Better Act. Will be focused on Medicare and medicine, wildfire, infrastructure, higher education, and childcare. So interesting is what I would say, but I guess there are opportunities for funding for us for some to tap into some of those funding sources. And I know Christina is already all over that, so I
You're
will
right.
not pretend to be the expert on any of that. Well, let's see. Oh, the other issue that WIR is staying on top of, though, through all of these presidential bills or congressional bills is PILT, our payment in lieu of taxes that will be coming through the counties. So the additional PILT payment that
The
they have
additional
talked
through
about.
the CARES
Right.
money, the
Right.
CARES, that impact. Yeah, and they haven't sent that yet, have they?
No, because they have not, no, they have not made any decisions on that yet. WIR did a public land survey of the county elected official members, and their priorities were full funding for PIL. Number one. Number two was a common sense approach to federal wildfire suppression. And number three was promote active management on federal lands.
Very good.
So I thought that was all very interesting. And just so the public wonders what my liaisons are, it is 99% federal activities because our county is 70% public lands, and that's where we receive the majority of our income. NACO, the National Association of County Officials, meets in Washington, D.C., February 12th through 16th. Early registration is this Friday, December 10th. I talked to Chairman Bowsman of Sublette County from the Public Land Steering Committee, and he did think it was important that if it was possible for support from this board for me to attend that meeting. But I didn't want to do it unless I had the support and the blessings of the commission, because it will involve an expense, but I need to know if we want to save several $100s to register by Friday. I think it's important more than ever now for somebody to be there.
Yeah, and I'm not sure if our other, no, Roy, what, no, you're on a state committee, what, or are you on one? Through the WCCA?
I'm not on one.
No,
currently.
and I think, but I think Roy and I don't think they're part of NACO. I know I've been a member of the NACO steering committee for the workforce and that type of thing, but you know, that I have never attended, you know, but what is the registration?
I don't know. I have not gone online yet. It's February 12th to the 16th in Washington, D.C. The Public Land Steering Committee meets on February 12th from 9 to 4:30 p.m. We will hear from the Forest Service Chief, the Department of Transportation, or some of the topics they were discussing. WIR, the Western Interstate Region, meets the first day, the 12th, from 1 to 3:15 for the Western regional issues. Some discussion on the call was for these collaboratives and how they can get more involved in getting forestry products and projects on the ground. And being able to work with federal agencies as a county to get more long-term workable contracts for the projects and for road maintenance projects.
Yeah, it's important. Well, there's,
So
Roy,
that's
Roy, your thoughts? I mean,
report.
it's kind of what we do. I mean, I think if somebody would like to, I know I've always thought about it, but kind of just followed it along, but public land's a whole lot different than the steering committee I'm on. And that type of thing.
I know we limited some of our budget and travel and stuff at the beginning of the year. And
We did that on ourselves.
Yeah.
Yeah, we just limited our budget, but we did some things for ourselves, but I think I've always fully expected, there's exceptions. And what's important about it is if we support it, then by gosh, let's support it. I would say, feel very comfortable. I don't know what do you think the registration is, Mary?
I don't know. I have not looked. I don't know. I
Me-
think the WIR in Salt Lake was 500, so it might be more than that.
Might be about 750 or 8. I didn't look
Maybe,
either.
plus
but
the
That's okay.
Motel
It
and
doesn't
travel.
matter. If we're gonna do it, we're gonna do it. You know, but at the same token, I think it's important that the public know we're endorsing our commission to be part of that national at that level. And public lands is probably the arena that's probably as important as, if not more so than anything else. So
Well, I think
Um,
especially during these times right
I th-
now with all
yeah.
the changes.
I would, you know, I think it's important, just keep us appraised of the costs and you know, it'll be important to know what you've learned and that type of thing, but a lot of times these events are of such that there's so much going on, you can't get it all. So, but anyway, yeah, I would support it. Would you? In order to save that kind of money for registration, you need to have it done because there'll be a late registration. If you do it any later, it might be a couple
But it
$100
would be
more.
several $100s more.
Yeah, I think you're right. So,
Will Sally be
Yeah.
available to help with that?
so yeah, my feeling is we just need to feel comfortable that you're going to do this, and we need to make sure we watch our budget for it. I will say this is, I know I don't want to see a huge part of our budget focused on out of
Well,
state travel.
the next WIR meeting is in Alaska in the spring, but I think this one is more important because of the legislative issues, and I would not be requesting to go to the Alaska except by Zoom.
Yeah, if it can be done by Zoom, sometimes that's, you know, what you got to do. But I don't have any issue with it. And even if I did, it doesn't matter. You are a commissioner, we're all of equal. If you'd like to go, then I think you should go.
Well, honestly, I'm not excited about going to Washington DC in February, but I do really think it's important because of the federal issues that we're facing.
Well,
right
and
now.
you'll once you're there, you'll see what's going on and you'll decide if really that's what the place we want to be working. Where can your influence be spent better? But you got to find out. Roy?
Ashley just sent us a link, and what I'm seeing is for a NACO member county, 520.
Oh,
Well, that's not bad.
That's not as much or any more than the.
You know, your
that's,
room could run you that much one night.
Well, room and travel, yeah, that's gonna be way more than that.
Room in Washington DC could be close to that for one night. But they'll have a special rate. They'll have a block of rooms.
Okay, thank you. That was the end of my report, so.
Thank you, Mary.
Mhm.
My apologies. Something else just came up that we'll have to address after this before we adjourn. Okay, Mary, make it happen. Roy, you had something to say.
Yeah, I got a
Thank
few things. Start with library. They're currently, Lindsay Travis is currently still serving as the interim. They have isolated it down to 2 candidates to replace former Director Grubb, 1 internal and 1 external, and those interviews will be happening, I think, in the next week. Some of them may have already started, but they will be going through those in the next week. Tripartite, we met, we renewed the progress of the year. There was a lot of changes and movement in some of the grant money, but we were able to expend most of it. We did get a presentation, and I wish I had some of the numbers down, and I'll ask Christina for the next meeting. Of regarding specifically how much money Sweetwater County Resource Center through grants and different things have expended into rental assistance into this community. And I want to say it's like around $1 million, and I could be wrong, but the number is astronomical over since the COVID piece. And it was really great to hear about everything they're doing there. We're also starting to work toward every 3 years, tripartite board has to do a community needs assessment. And we are at that time where we'll need a new community needs assessment, and we're working toward that. A couple others, our committee has worked diligently on the budget development. I want to thank all those committee members, Mary, Bonnie, Christina, and John. I think we've come up with a document that may have ended up different than the direction we thought we were going in at the beginning. But I think we've really learned a lot, and we've created a functional piece that can really help us out in the future. And I think I think we've done a really good job, and it's been a pleasure leading that group and moving that direction. Want to reiterate something that Lauren mentioned. I encourage people to go to the open house on this Saturday for the museum display. I think that will be a great event. There's stuff for the kids. Joe's playing. I'm not singing. That's a great reason not to go. Reason to go. Want to golden hour. We had a board meeting last week. Want to note that on Thanksgiving Day, they served over 300 Thanksgiving Day, their Thanksgiving dinner, which was the Thursday before Thanksgiving, 300 Thanksgiving dinners that day, between pickup, home delivery, and in-house. And in fact, they had such an in-house presence, they actually had to move to 2 meal times, and 11:30 and a 1 o'clock meal time. So a great job to them, and the numbers they're providing to outside of the home, inside people's homes through home delivered meals, but also continuing to provide through drive up meals is staggering. And I'll get some numbers for that for the next meeting. I've been unable to attend the last 2 6-penny tax meetings due to other commitments, but I'm hoping to get to the next one. I think as we move forward, I just want to make a comment that I think we have to be very smart and diligent in how we set up the 610, especially after we saw what happened with the last tax initiative. I think it has to be very direct, very focused, lower dollar amount, because I really think the biggest piece in this upcoming, if we can move forward with the tax, is regaining public trust. And I think that's a huge piece. And I think as we move forward, that should be a theme that we're looking at. And one of the things I'll encourage as I'm sitting on that committee is that I think we need to stay away from some of the nonprofit requests and really stay to city municipality requests that we can really show are tangible. These are the streets we're going to work on, so-and-so water projects that are very defined. I think that's very important if we think it has any chance to pass. But I think if we don't, we really are setting ourselves up for some failure. And I really do believe one of the biggest things is we need to listen to people, we need to discern, and we need to regain trust. Outside of that, I've met with various elected officials, directors, and employees about different issues. And I'll wrap up with Gene's handy dandy report. Public Works Department buildings, the detention center roofing project started November 30th. Currently, they have finished the Sallyport portion of the roof. Engineering, the project on Lester Folsom period north of Rock Springs is complete as we start a 41-day of final advertisement. The 2021 crack sealing project started last week, and R&D sweeping and asphalt maintenance has finished a 9-mile stretch of County Road number 11, TG Soda Ash Road and Road and Bridge. Crews are trying to keep up with the warm, windy weather. We were having to haul water out onto the roads on the east side of the county to keep them from being powdered out because of the lack of moisture and increased traffic. Gene did attach to each one of you guys great pictures of the roofing project, so you can check that out. But that's what I have for my report.
Thank you, Commissioner Lloyd. Any comments? Questions? Very good. Thank you. Okay, one more thing that just came about is, as you know, Sweetwater County moved into, or no, I shouldn't say moved in, chose to become part of the class action suit for the opioids issue. And
Oh.
at that time, when we decided to move forward, we hired Charlie Barnum to represent the county through that whole process and work with them. As that opioid class action suit is coming together, one piece of it was to make the attorney fees first, and then whatever was left would be distributed to those involved in the class action suit. And of course, the other option is distribute the money, and then the counties, in our case, the county pay the attorney afterwards. And it appears as though, John, correct me if I'm wrong, that the latter is what's going to happen, that they're going to go ahead and award the money, and then whoever hired attorneys will pay their own attorneys. Is that correct?
That is correct, Mr. Chairman.
All right.
So-
So with that being said, we've got to have a motion to authorize Charlie Barnum to continue to move forward. Is that the correct word, or what?
That's.
Move
fair.
forward with the opioid settlement as we see fit, which we basically so far have authorized him to do. Is that correct? So I'd entertain a motion authorizing Charlie Barnum to move forward towards the settlement of the opioid class action suit.
I'd so move.
So moved by Commissioner Lloyd. Is there a second?
I would second that.
Commissioner Stoltman, second. All those in, any further discussion? I will just say this one point, and I don't think I'll be out of turn, but I do believe when we first were notified and they were talking about attorneys being paid first and then settlements to the different counties, the money was substantial. John, I thought I saw.
Yeah, I mean, there will be a lot coming to the county.
There'll be a
and-
lot. So, yeah, I don't want to hang myself out there, but yeah, I thought I read a couple million, but now that's going to change to where they're going to give the money, and then in our case, Mr. Barnum will bill us.
That's
Is that
correct.
correct?
First he'll seek partial payment through
Yes.
other avenues. And then what he isn't able to get through other avenues of paying attorney's fees, the remainder would be paid by the county.
Very good. Okay. All right. With that, any further discussion? All those in favor signify by saying aye.
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 Opposed, same sign. Please let the record show that the motion passed 3-0 with 2 absents. Commissioner Smith absent and Commissioner Shanefield absent. Commissioners, any more business to come before this commission here at 4:00 PM?
I hope not.
Okay, with that, I'll entertain a motion to adjourn.
I'd so move.
Second.